What if she's also no contact with you? This is where most men panic. They break the silence. They send the long message. They explain, they beg, and they lose every ounce of the fish he had left for them. But listen carefully, if she's doing no contact, it means one of two things. Either she's hurt and waiting to see what you'll do, or she's testing your strength to see if you'll break before she does. The right move isn't to chase. It isn't to force a conversation. It's to match her silence with composure. Not anger, not bitterness, but composure. This is where your character is tested. Can you sit with your discomfort? Can you focus on your own life while the silence continues? Because the man who can stay calm in this moment becomes 10 times more attractive. Use this time to rebuild yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. But fill your life with purpose. Let her feel the absence of your attention. Let her wonder what you're doing, who you're becoming, how you're thriving. And here's the paradox. When you stop obsessing over whether she'll come back, that's when you become the kind of man she actually wants to come back to. So if she's doing no contact, do this. Stay quiet, stay focused, and let the silence work for you, not against you. When she goes silent, most men feel an immediate burning urge to do something. They feel the need to fix it, to break the silence, to chase. And that's exactly where they destroy their chances. Because here's the truth. Silence is a test, not just of patience, but of emotional strength. She is watching, even if she never admits it, to see how you respond when she withholds her attention. Most men crack under this pressure. They send the paragraph-long text message. They apologize for things they didn't even do wrong. They start calling, messaging, leaving voicemails. Each action screams one thing. I cannot handle being without you. But here's what very few men understand. The more you try to break her silence, the more power you hand over. Your panic confirms to her that she controls the emotional dynamic. And once she feels she controls you, the attraction you once had begins to evaporate. Matching her silence with composure is not about playing games. It's about showing to her and to yourself that you are not ruled by fear. You can sit in discomfort without losing control. This doesn't mean you ignore her forever. It doesn't mean you shut down your heart or stop caring. It means you stop performing for her attention. You stop reacting to every pull or push she gives you. Composure is quiet strength. It is the ability to hold your ground without turning cold. It is the decision to breathe, to stay still, to let her actions speak for themselves instead of rushing to fill the space with words she isn't asking for. Think about how powerful that is. While she's waiting for you to panic, you're simply living. You are calm. You're steady. You're not sending good morning texts just to remind her you exist. You're not refreshing your phone waiting for a notification. You're going to the gym, reading, building your business, laughing with friends. And something interesting happens when you do this. She begins to notice the silence too, but this time it's your silence. And unlike you, she might not be so calm about it. She might start wondering, why hasn't he reached out? Does he miss me? Has he moved on? Your composure creates curiosity, and curiosity leads her right back to not because you forced her to come back, but because she felt drawn back. This is why composure matters so much. When you stay emotionally grounded, you give off an energy that is incredibly rare today. Most people are addicted to instant reassurance. They can't sit in silence without filling it with noise. But when you can, you show that you are not just another man desperately seeking approval. Composure also protects your dignity. Imagine this. Weeks later, she finally decides to talk. Do you want to look back and remember that you begged, pleaded, and embarrassed yourself? Or do you want to look back and know that you handled the silence with strength, that you respected yourself enough to wait? This is what separates the man she respects from the man she pities. Respect is built in moments like these when she sees you holding the line, even when it would be easier to break it. And make no mistake, this is hard. It's uncomfortable. There will be nights when you want to pick up the phone just to hear her voice, just to make the pain stop. But those are the moments that define you. If you can stay steady in the storm, you become unshakable. Not just for her, for yourself. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about her. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't collapse under pressure. The kind of man who doesn't let anyone else's silence control his peace. So when she goes quiet, let her match her silence with composure. Let the days pass without panic. Let the silence do its work. And watch how powerful you feel when you realize you didn't need to break it. When she pulls away, most men do the exact opposite of what they should. They sit around replaying every conversation in their heads. They scroll through old pictures, stare at their phones and wait for the notification that never comes. They make their entire world about her, even when she's not in it anymore. That's not strength. That's self-abandonment. The silence, this space between you is not punishment. It's an opportunity. It is a rare moment where life has forced you to stop, to reflect, to rebuild. And what you do with this time will decide not just whether she comes back, but whether you ever truly respect yourself again. This is the moment to stop obsessing over her and start obsessing over you. Yeah, ask yourself, where have I let myself go? What parts of me did I lose while I was trying to keep her happy? What have I been neglecting? My health, my purpose, my passions? Because here's the truth. Women aren't drawn back to men who sit in the dark waiting. They are drawn to men who rise, to men who use pain as fuel, to men who turn heartbreak into the fire that forges a stronger version of themselves. To start with your body, go to the gym, not out of revenge, not to make her jealous, but because strength changes the way you carry yourself. When you push yourself physically, you teach your mind discipline. You feel your confidence return, one rep at a time. Then focus on your mind. Pick up books that challenge the way you think. Learn new skills. Listen to ideas that expand your perspective. The more you grow, the more you realize that your life was never meant to orbit around one person. And don't just sit inside working on yourself. Go live. Go out with friends. Meet new people. Explore new places. Laugh, breathe. Let life remind you that there is more out there than the situation you're in. This is where the shift happens. Instead of waiting for her to validate you, you begin to validate yourself. Instead of asking, will she come back? You start asking, who am I becoming? And here's the paradox. The man who becomes consumed with growth often becomes the man she notices again. Not because he tried to win her back, but because he stopped trying. He stopped chasing and started living. Women can sense when a man is moving forward. Even if you're not talking, she will feel it. She'll see the changes when she checks your profile. She'll hear it in your voice if you do speak again. She will notice the difference between the man who was begging for her attention and the man who has built a life worth living. But even if she never comes back, this work is still worth doing. Because this isn't just about getting her back. It's about getting yourself back. The version of you that you abandoned somewhere along the way. The man with energy, purpose, and direction. The man who knows that his value doesn't depend on anyone else choosing him. Self-improvement during no contact isn't just a strategy, it's survival. It's the way you turn silence into strength, rejection into resilience. It's the way you make sure that no matter what happens next, you walk away from this situation better than you were before. One day, maybe she reaches out, maybe she wants to talk. When that day comes, you want to meet her as a man who has evolved, not a man who has been sitting in the same place waiting for her to rescue him. And whether she stays or goes, you will be proud that you used this time to build, not to beg. So stop wasting energy wondering what she's doing. Use that energy to become someone you admire. Let the silence push you toward growth, not despair. When you do that, you stop being the man who waits and you become the man who leads. Most men are terrified of letting a woman actually feel their absence. The moment she pulls back, they rush to fill the gap. They send the late night texts. They check in under the disguise of just seeing how you are. They leave the door wide open when making it too easy for her to know she still has him whenever she wants. But here's the truth, if she never feels your absence, she never has the chance to miss you. And if she never misses you, there's no reason for her to return. Absence is not punishment, it's contrast. It reminds her of what life feels like without you in it. It lets her experience the space, the quiet, the distance. And sometimes that's the very thing that makes her realize what she had. Think about it. When someone is always there, always available, always reachable, they fade into the background. They become taken for granted. They become the wallpaper of your life, nice, familiar, but unnoticed. But when they step back, when they stop giving constant attention, suddenly you notice the gap. Suddenly you wonder where they went. Suddenly Their presence, which you once dismissed, feels important again. That's the power of letting her feel you're absent. You are not punishing her by going quiet. You are not playing games. You are simply refusing to feed a dynamic where she gets all of you while giving little in return. And here's where many men go wrong. They think absence means hostility. They go cold, bitter, angry. They post online trying to prove they've moved on by showing off or pretending to be happy. That's not absence. That's emotional noise. True absence is calm. It is quiet strength. It is living your life fully while not forcing yourself back into hers. Let her sit in the silence. Let her experience what it feels like when you're not the one always initiating, always showing up, always making the first move. Let her notice that the energy she once relied on from you is no longer there. And here's what often happens when you do this. Curiosity starts to grow. She begins to wonder where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. She notices that you haven't been chasing. She feels the change. Absence creates space for her to reflect. Maybe she remembers the good times. Maybe she realizes she misjudged you. Maybe she understands that she misses the way you made her feel. But even if she doesn't, even if she never comes back, you still win. Because letting someone feel your absence is also a way of honoring yourself. It's a way of saying, I will not fight for a place in someone's life who doesn't see my value. You are choosing dignity over desperation. And here's the paradox. The man who is willing to walk away is often the man who is most desired. Because desire cannot exist without distance. There must be space for longing to grow. If you are always right there, always available, there's no room for her to feel anything. So give her the gift of missing you. Let her feel the quiet. Let her notice the difference between when you were there and when you were not. And don't do it for manipulation. Do it for clarity. Clarity for her and clarity for yourself. You'll find that when you stop fighting to stay in someone's mind, you actually free yourself. You stop living in anxiety, waiting for her reaction. You stop measuring your worth by her replies. You start living again. And if she comes back, she will be coming back to a man who didn't lose himself just to hold on to her. If she doesn't, then you've already built a life where you are whole even without her. That is what it truly means to let her feel your absence, not to punish, not to provoke, but to step back with strength, to let silence speak louder than words, and to trust that whatever is meant to stay in your life will choose to be there. One of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn is how to stop needing a specific outcome. Most men can't do it. They sit there waiting, hoping, obsessing. When will she text? When will she call? When will she come back? Their entire emotional state rises and falls depending on what she does or doesn't do. That is not strength. That is dependence. Detaching from the outcome doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you stop tying your self-worth to whether she chooses you. You cannot control what she feels, what she decides, or what she does next. The only thing you can control is how you respond, you become, and whether you allow this moment to break you or build you. And here's the paradox. When you let go of needing a specific result, you actually become far more attractive, because nothing is more magnetic than a man who is centered, calm, and unshaken, no matter what happens. Think about it. If she senses that you are waiting by the phone, hanging on her every move, she feels the weight of that pressure. It pushes her further away. But when she sees that you are not living in desperation, that you are living your life regardless of what she chooses, something shifts. You stop being a man who needs her to validate him. You become a man who is already whole. Attachment is not coldness. It's not pretending you don't care. It's not playing hard to get. It's genuine acceptance. I would love for this to work, but if it doesn't, I will still be okay. This is what allows you to act with dignity. When you are desperate for a specific outcome, you will compromise your values. You will beg, chase, and lower your standards just to get a response. But when you're detached, you stay calm. You stay patient. You stay in control. And this doesn't just change how she sees you, it changes how you see yourself. You begin to realize that your worth was never dependent on one person's decision. You begin to see that life is still full of possibilities, full of opportunities for love, growth, and connection. Detach, and you set yourself free. free from anxiety, free from obsession, free from the constant cycle of hope and disappointment. Suddenly, you're no longer just surviving the silence, you're thriving within it. Use this time to pour energy into your passions, your goals, your purpose. Let your life grow so big, so full that whether she comes back or not, you have built something meaningful. Because here's the reality. Sometimes she does come back. Sometimes she sees the changes. She feels your absence. She remembers why she was drawn to you in the first place. And when she does, she will meet a man who has grown stronger, who doesn't need her to complete him, but chooses her if it makes sense. Other times, she doesn't come back. And that's okay too, because detachment means you have already made peace with both possibilities. You have stopped trying to control what isn't yours to control. You have handed the outcome over to life, trusting that what is meant for you cannot be lost. This is where your true power lies. When you stop clinging to a single path, you open yourself up to all the paths ahead of you. When you stop trying to force someone's love, you make room for the love that is freely given. So let go of the obsession. Stop checking her profile every hour. Stop reading into every small sign. Live your life with purpose, with presence, with pride. And if she returns, great, you'll be ready. If she doesn't, you've already won, because you have become the man who no longer lets his happiness depend on someone else's choices. That is what true detachment looks like. Not anger, not indifference, but peace. The quiet knowing that you are enough with or without her.